And we are live. Welcome back to the Sick Podcast Recruits Draftcast, a special Monday edition of the Habs Prospect of the Week show that we usually do on Sundays, but special exception this week. The Habs were playing on Sunday against the New York Rangers, so we wanted to talk about that game. I think there's a lot more to talk about that game than the Leafs game, but we'll do both nonetheless. We're going to get to a little bit of Laval Rocket as per usual, and our Insta Customs Habs Prospect of the Week. I feel like most people can guess who it is, but doesn't matter. We're going to talk about him anyways. Grant, big show ahead. Let's get to it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Recruits Draftcast.
With our first pick in the 2022 NHL Draft, les Canadiens de Montréal sont fiers de repêcher from the Slovakian national team and TPS Turku, Juraj Slafkovsky.
The sickest NHL draft and scouting podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Producer Shane here, joined as always by the great Grant McCagg. Grant, how are we doing today?
Excellent. I went to a 67s game yesterday, and
Brady
that was one of the reasons why we delayed it till today as well. Had a look at Brady Martin. Oh, man, I like that prospect.
Nice.
Just a consummate third-line center that's going to help you win. You know, like he played about 25 minutes, all situations. Really smart, real motor that never stops. So, you know, the Canadians have two picks right, probably right around where he's ranked.
Yeah.
And if they end up with Brady Martin, I will not. It's like the next Owen Beck, basically, this kid, you know, or close to it.
Very nice.
So, yeah, I'm excited about him. And the NFL playoffs yesterday, too. It just wasn't the perfect day to
right.
I wanted to see my Bills. Well, I say but I sort of cheer for Buffalo, so I'm glad that they're in the Kansas City again, right? Maybe six times the charm or whatever it is, third time, but hopefully they can win it this time. But yeah, great bounce back from the disappointing last two periods in the Leaf game.
Yeah.
Feeling a little more. It took me a while to get over that one. I don't know about you, but
it stings for sure. But you know what? I was still fairly okay after that game. I think we've had a big enough sample size to where, you know, if this was against the Blackhawks or the Sharks, then yeah, I'd be pretty pissed. But it's the Leafs. They're a good team, right?
Well, that's why I was pissed. It's the Leafs.
Yeah, it stings a little more, but big picture.
Matthews hadn't done a thing either till he scored his goal, really.
Yeah,
seen him more in his commercials during the game than had with the puck. And then, of course, McDonald's. You know, he gets the dagger and that smug look with his friggin' 1920s porn star mustache. And
oh boy,
you know, yeah, it was just whatever.
Yeah,
it burned extra, you know, for several reasons, that being one of them.
Fair enough. Well, folks, I want to remind everyone that we are live right now. You can chime in the chat. Let us know what you thought about both games this weekend, what you thought about the Laval Rocket, any Habs prospect that you want us to talk about. Chime in the chat. We already have a few comments here, and someone's asking if you can do a little dance. I think you're asking the wrong person. You should ask Tony. Tony likes to dance.
Yeah,
we don't do much dancing over here, but we appreciate
negatory. Yeah. I probably knock over my webcam. It's not really anchored, and there's wires all over the place here. So I'm not moving. Just that's the main reason I'd love to sing and dance, but
for logistical purposes,
that's right.
We're gonna pass today. Make sure you're all following, guys. SickPod NHL Draft on Twitter, not X, and of course our YouTube channel, Recruits Draftcast. You can listen to us on all the podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcast, all the good stuff. So make sure you're doing that. Grant, the Habs are 7-2-1 in their last 10 games. And that's part of the reason why I kind of took that Leafs game and flipped over, right? Just moved on to the next. And the Habs did the exact same thing. They moved on to the Rangers, had a very good bounce back game there, 5-4 win in overtime. But let's start with the Leafs game. Your general thoughts, what you thought went wrong there, and we'll get to the Rangers game after.
Well, it didn't surprise me because I mean, if you went back over in the past decade, how many times, and it's been in reverse too, where the Leafs got a 3-0 lead early and Montreal came back. It seems like every game where one of the two teams gets a 3-0 early lead, the other team always comes back, and especially Toronto. It happens time after time. They can never seem to get that fourth goal, which I think is the pivotal. If you ever get up 4-0, you're usually, you're okay. But the second period starts, they get penalties. It happened. It's like a rerun movie where up 3-0, going to the second, the refs start calling all of the penalties against the team that's up 3-0. The other team scores the fourth goal. They keep the momentum going and slowly but surely just build, and it ends up being 7-3. Wayne Hutson -5. He's still going to have those games, right? Maybe a little bit of karma coming back on me with my smug tweets about him being with the plus minus in the past dozen games or whatever, and then boom, he's a -5 again, and the all the kids that are in Chad's mom's basement sprung to life again. Oh, -5, what'd I tell you? But anyway, one game. Certainly wasn't all his fault for all the goals against. Although, he's had better games.
Yeah.
You're going to get some bad with the good with a kid with that offensive mindset where, he's go, wants to create. So there's going to be times when he gets caught up ice a little bit. But, see him bounce back last night. See the defending on Rempe, the 6'9" kid. He's just so savvy, eh?
But he doesn't shy away. You know what I mean? He's not too small for any challenge. He'll take on any guy in the NHL, and it's his positioning, right? It's up here.
Exactly.
He doesn't outmuscle the guys. He boxes them out, right? He puts himself in an advantageous position. He's
so
smart.
Quick. His stick is so quick. He steals the pucks, But like he told me, like in one of my interviews with, like he says, we're all the same size out on the ice. Like I don't think, I'm smaller than this guy, And he's absolutely right with the way you see his style of play. He doesn't he's not going in the corner thinking, I'm only 5'9", I'm only 5'10", 165 pounds. He's going in there thinking, I'm getting that puck.
Yeah.
That's his mindset every time. And vast majority of the time he does end up with the puck. So
exactly. It's crazy. And 8-game point streak.
Yeah.
As a rookie defenseman. And Grant, you sent these stats over in our group chat, and I thought it was just crazy. I mean, on pace for 68 points. Rookie defenseman. He would have the most assists as a rookie defenseman in NHL history. That's insane. That's insane.
And that's including Lidstrom and Orr and Harvey and all the best defensemen in NHL history. He's on pace to have the most helpers of any defense, and I think he'll do it. I'm pretty sure he's going to hit he's going to crack 60 assists. It just, he's on. Well,
wow.
I mean, just him and Line A alone, right? It's just
cheat code, yeah.
Well, it's pretty amazing that that power play, and I can't wait till next year too when there's that extra piece, and we'll talk a little bit about him later.
Wow.
But, Housley, look at all those. He's definitely going to be top 3 all time in assists, I think.
Yeah.
Easily. health permitting, and I think he'll break 60 assists, which, I mean, how can you not be impressed by that, right? That's to set an NHL record. You know, how many great Hall of Fame defensemen is he going to better? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I think this kid's capable of 80 plus assists, maybe 100 one year. Like the last one to do it was what, Orr? Last defenseman to get 100 assists. This guy might have that potential. It's crazy. So
wow,
lots to be excited about.
Absolutely. Wow, that's Lane Hutson, folks. We've talked about him at great lengths, and we're not done. We're not done. Grant, I mean, to round out this Leafs game, to me, that first period is my big takeaway because they dominated. The Habs absolutely dominated the Leafs. It was one of the more dominant periods the entire season, I thought. Yeah. So the fact that they were able to do that, to me, that was the main takeaway. The other two periods, the chemistry was off, you know, the passing was off, the assignments were off, the communication was off. It was just off, right? It's an off night. I'm willing to write that off. But that first period, they were on it. And I love that.
Well, I like that your glass is half full.
Always.
There.
Always.
You know, I'm of the same mindset. Always look at the positives. And yeah, I mean, they hung with the big boys again. You know, they did it with Colorado. They did it with Washington. They did it with Vegas. They did it with Dallas. They did it Tampa, Florida, all of those ones on the road. And then, of course, these games are always a little bit, it's almost like a road game in some sense where you get more Leaf fans. You get more fans of another team at a Habs game than at any other time. And they get, you know, the go Leafs, go check gets going and all that. So, you know, it's tougher, I think, in that regard, because you're not used to hearing that at home, right? But yeah, it was just one of those games where the Leafs, the couple of bounces went like Dvorak, right? He hits close, the poke, like, and it happens
right back in. Yeah,
it happens so often, and then, you know, and even that exacerbated it. Where I'm thinking, okay, there's that 3-1 goal. Should have been 4-0, you know. But it's funny, like the last night's game, I don't know. I had a funny feeling Dvorak was going to score one. And I tweeted something out there.
Yeah. Even
you know,
closer.
But it even showed him at the opening face. I was, okay, he's pumped. He's ready for this game. Dvorak's going to get off the schneid and he's going to score one tonight. And then right off early, I thought, I didn't realize that Gallagher had tipped it. No, there you go. Scored already. But it was tipped by Gallagher. And I said, you know, close. And then what happens? Then he scores the goal. So I was feeling a bit Nostradamus-ish last night.
Should have gone on Betway there.
Yeah. Oh man, how much would you won? The odds
the odds would have been crazy because
they probably Betway they'd be canceling their ad because they'd be going bankrupt.
Yeah, I don't even know if he would have been an option for any goal. But look, Dvorak has rightfully been heavily criticized this season. He has not had a good season whatsoever. So hopefully he can.
I think he's been playing well. He just, whatever reason, he just has lost his ability to score goals. Like I posted something again last week when I was, you know, going through OHL seasons, and it was his last year or junior. He led the friggin' OHL in goals and points. You know, had more points than his line mates, Kachuk and Marner, had more points than great NHLers that, you know, are 100-point scorers. And he's lost that ability to snipe goals. I can't explain it. I haven't minded his play. Like, you know, there are times, and it seems like it's in the defensive zone when he goes to clear the puck and he can't. Yeah. And it makes you think, oh, okay. Because, and then he can't score. He gets great chances and can't score. So you think on the surface, okay, he's playing crappy. But, you know, when you think about the whole game, what he's doing defensively, killing penalties. He makes a lot of really smart plays every game, and he's really good away from the puck. But yeah, there seems to be the turnover or two in his own zone pretty much every game. The 2 chances, whether it's a breakaway that he can't score on. So it's frustrating.
Mhm.
And you say, yeah, he's not playing well. But, I mean, that line's been pretty solid
They have.
pretty much all year. He's
Yeah.
been centering it, and a little bit, I think, underappreciated overall, just because he can't seem to score goals. But hey, goal and assist last night. Right now, he's in the good books.
Hopefully some NHL teams are taking notes and listening to what you're saying, because at the trade deadline, he will likely be shipped. He's definitely not back in the offseason, that's for sure. But
even if they're in the mix,
get some.
Sorry, even if they're in the mix, and it looks like obviously they're going to be at the trade deadline, he's the one guy I think that still likely gets shipped out.
Yeah,
we'll see. It's one of the reasons why, and I know a lot of people were mentioning other people that should get called up, but all along I've been touting that it's Beck that should get the call, and he did.
Yeah,
and in part because I think they want to give him a bit of an audition, right? And see, well, if we do end up trading Dvorak at the deadline, who replaces him? Well, it's Owen Beck. So you got to give him a look at the NHL level. But there were multiple reasons. He earned it. I think he's been the best forward in Laval. And who do you call up? Your best forward, the guy that's playing the best. Like, people overthink it sometimes. Oh, well, he can't play wing. Well, I can name you 500 centers that when they start in the NHL, it's on the wing. It's just because it's an easy transition. Because you're not tasked with, you don't have to be back the first guy back every time covering that slot. It's so much harder defensively for a centerman than it is for a winger. So, and then, even with Team Canada, when he played for the World Juniors, where did he play? His first year when he got the call finally, he played on the wing, right? So this is a very similar thing. He's coming to a team where he's not the big guy. He's the starting out guy, and you start him on the wing. But then he's also there that he can take some face-offs if need be. But he's playing with Evans, and Evans has been really, pretty solid on the draws. So Becker didn't get too many draws, but it doesn't matter how good you are in junior in the face-off dot. You have to get experience before you're good. Like, you look at face-off statistics in the NHL, and it's rare to see a first or second year guy that's even in the top 20. There might be one. It's always the veterans, because no matter how good you are as a junior, you have to get that NHL experience, stronger, smarter, better, and experience. It's just, there's nothing that beats going up against NHL centers and getting, learning all the little tricks of the trade that they know that juniors don't know. So I thought he looked fine last night. He didn't create offense, but he didn't hurt the team. I think that's a fourth liner, especially. I think Pizzetta had been hurting the team.
Yeah.
With the penalties, and Beck hurt the team less, and he'll be in there again. I'd be afraid Pez is going to be sitting in the stands for another spell here, unless there's a few injuries, but that's fine. It was tough for Pez to come in after, I'm sorry, but sitting 2 months and expected to. I think he was missing a little bit of jump that he normally has, and it's understandable. You're sitting in the stands for 2 months. I felt sorry for him, and maybe overcompensated with a couple of penalties where, normally he'd be in a little better game shape, and wouldn't take them. But Beck, I liked what I saw. There was a couple of instances. I tried to keep a good eye on him because you're always curious as a guy with his first game or second game, I guess, right? And there were a couple of instances in particular where Evans wasn't back, and Beck came back, took the middle in the defensive zone, and made nice plays away from the puck that really helped the team. And that's part of what you're going to get with Beck, always. And his speed was more than fine. He's got above average even NHL speed at this point, so he can keep up with the pace. That again is important. I think he's faster than Pez is, and that's good. He was aggressive. He was physical, good along the boards, good in battles. So wasn't a sexy debut for him. Didn't get any real great scoring chances or anything like that, but he more than held his own, and I was impressed with him.
Absolutely. No, he's so smart, such a smart player, and destined for the NHL. And I think his name is already getting carved into Dvorak's chair, right? We talk,
yeah.
It's all about chairs with this team.
Oh.
He's basically he's there for that. So,
and with Beck in with Beck in the lineup, they had 3 20-year-olds. That hasn't. I'd have to go back, but that hasn't happened too often in the last while. Their lineup, I added it up, was precisely 500 years old last night. So divided by 20, that's 25 years of age, 25.0. Buffalo has been, they've been the youngest team at 25.3. So officially last night, the Canadiens were the youngest team in the NHL. And if you exclude Monty, who didn't play, right? So the 19 players that did play, 24.8 years of age. The third youngest team is Utah. They're 26.8. So a full 2 years younger than the third youngest team in the league. And they're in the playoff mix, right? With that young group. I mean,
1 point out.
How encouraging. Well, I think even win percentage, are they even... Are they behind Columbus?
Yeah, behind Columbus. Same amount of games, but
barely?
Columbus has 1 point more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, win percentage of about 5%, even that. But I mean, you look at that. Consider after the 2025 draft, the Canadiens will have made 7. If they keep their 2 picks, they'll have made 7 first-round picks in last 4 years, right? So there's more coming, In addition to being in the playoff mix, in addition to being the youngest team in the league, they've got first-round picks on the way, more of them, more than any other team, or second most. Like I think Utah probably had more in the last 4 years, if you count. But if they keep all 7 picks, they'll have in the top 3 rounds in 2020, after the 2025 draft, they'll have made 19 top 100 selections in the last 4 drafts. Now that's you just keep growing the system with high picks. It's absolutely the best way to build a contender, and you get the best players. You trade the ones that aren't going to be good enough, and there's going to be, they've already traded some really good young talent, Jordan Harris and on, and there's going to be more as they get better here and they're contenders. They'll be trading some young guys that just don't have spots down the line, 8 picks in the top 33 in 4 years after the 2025 draft. That's an average of 2 per draft, 2 top 33 picks per draft. That just builds it all up, right? And if that talent, it's just, there's so much more on the way. Like, Demidov, Hage, all the kids. We have a look at Beck now, Fowler. It seems impossible to think that the Canadiens will not be a playoff contender over the next decade. maybe every year.
Yeah.
So it's the future's bright.
That is the end goal, right? Well, obviously the end goal is to lift up Lord Stanley, but consistency, right? Every year being a playoff threat. That's what the team is building with the amount of depth and with the incredible cap management. Okay, credit to Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton and John Sedgwick, who have managed this cap brilliantly. And with the cap increasing now, it's only going to be better. All credit to those guys. And Grant, you tweeted something out here, and I think it's worth bringing up now. Might have to squint a little because there's a lot of names, but for those of you listening in, Grant compiled every Kent Hughes trade that involved the defenseman, right? So the Habs traded Brett Kulak, Jordan Harris, Justin Barron, Jeff Petrie, Ryan Poehling, Alex Romanov, Ben Sherratt, Johnny Fairbrother, and Jonathan Kovacevic, as well as a 2023 31st overall pick, 2022 second round, 2023 second round, 2022 third round, and a 2022 fourth round, in exchange for Lane Hutson, Mike Matheson, Patrick Laine, Kirby Dach, Alex Carrier, Alex Newhook, Rasmus Bergqvist, Makar Kanin, Logan Sawyer, a 2026 second, 2026 fourth, 2026 fourth. Whew. Kent was busy.
As it says underneath, that's three of the club's top four defensemen, and the team's current second line. So, all but four pieces out of your top six and your top four on the fence, right there. And who's the best? Who's the best player that they traded? I guess you could say maybe Romanov out of that.
Yeah.
So, who's I guess about a fourth, number four. So you get three of your top four defensemen and your second line in exchange for those players. That's brilliant work by Jeff Kent, as I call him,
Hugo,
and it's a good point that you make about the salary cap. With all of this young talent coming in every year too, they're going to have guys on ELCs, right, and in important positions. So there are not going to be in cap, with the cap going up and up, with big guys signed for 8 years.
Yeah,
like you're going to see that Caulfield's and Suzuki's deals are going to look like complete bargains in 2 or 3 years.
big
right?
time. Oh yeah,
There's going to be people making 12, 13 million, and they'll be at 8, and they'll be as good or better than some of these guys. So, and Slav too, those are all going to look like good deals down the road. People worrying about Hutson, whatever, 10 million or whatever. They're going to have more than enough room.
Yeah.
Because there'll be Demidov on his ELC. There'll be, Hage in a couple of years on his ELC, Fowler on his ELC. The 2 first-round picks that they've got this year, the 8 picks in the top 3 rounds, right? Well, in 2 or 3 years, there'll be a couple of those guys that make the team, and they'll be on ELCs that will help balance out. What's going to be neat is Demidov. I'd be shocked if he's not in the top 6. And when you have guys on their ELCs in your top 6 and your top 4 defense, same deal. Like Gooley's on his ELC, right? He's in the top 4.
Yeah.
Hudson's on his ELC. He's in the top 4. Slav's on his ELC. He's in the tops on the top line. That's so important to have those pieces. Huge. Because you can counterbalance the bigger salaries with it, right? I think it's really important to have pieces. And that's where I think in the future, teams like Boston, Tampa, Toronto are going to be like 3 years down the road. Where are the guys, the high picks that are going to be in their top 6 that are on ELCs? there's maybe not going to be any.
Mhm.
And after a while, you can plug holes to a certain degree, but it starts to become an issue with the salary cap and such. And Montreal's not going to have that issue for probably 5 years, where they're really going to have to say, okay, we're over the cap here. We got to trade good player just to keep it, like what Tampa's done the last year or two. They've had to get rid of some pretty damn good players because they couldn't keep them all under the cap, because they don't have the ELCs in their top 9 and then their top 4 on defense that can help counterbalance. Montreal has them now, and they're going to have them over the next 4 or 5 years as well. So
Exactly.
it's just it's being very well managed, and they're building the right way. They're building a team that's going to be, I believe, a perennial contender down the road.
I completely agree. The Sick Podcast is proudly brought to you by Cheapest T-shirts. If you're looking for the cheapest clothing prices, you have to check out CheapestTshirts.ca, where they offer the cheapest wholesale prices on 36 top clothing brands and 941 different items. You can enjoy their unbeatable cheapest wholesale prices with no minimum order requirements. Order today, get it tomorrow. Don't miss out on amazing savings. Shop today at CheapestTshirts.ca. And if you're looking for a hat trick in real estate, Team MK Prop Remax delivers every time with 5-star Google reviews, professional photography to make your property shine, and unmatched West Island expertise. Helen and Franco's award-winning service guarantees that your real estate journey is a winning play, whether you're buying or selling. Trust the team that makes every move a success. Call Helen and Franco at 514-915-1750. All right. Few points for the Rangers game here. Obviously, 5-4 win in overtime. Patrick Laine, the hero, once again, cannot stop scoring. That guy has been money. Well worth that $8 million contract so far, even though Kent is not the one who gave it to him. But nonetheless, Grant, I want to start with Arbor Xhekaj. That was one of the highlights of the game. Obviously, he beat the wheels off of Matt Rempe. Love to see that. But you're looking back now at the Leafs game, right? When he shoot off Ryan Reeves.
Right.
When the Habs were leading 3-0, right? Context is important here.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So what did you make of Xhekaj these last 2 games and his decision to shoo away Reeves but fight Rempe?
Yeah. Well, we've seen great maturity in his game, right, over the last year. Marty's been such a great influence on him, a lot of people got upset about him being sent to the minors last year. We're reaping the benefits of that now.
Yeah.
Like that last night was, the Toronto game was a great example of, if it would have been last year before he went down to the minors and was, you got to stop hurting us with penalties. He might have taken it up with Reeves, right? But and notice Reeves, like, there's been a few times in the game since he wrestled him down and beat him in their only fight, where it was Xhekaj that was challenging him, right?
Yeah.
And Reeves never. You notice he waited till they're down 3-0, and fourth liner that plays 5-10 minutes a game trying to get top 6 defensemen off the ice. That's what he was trying to do, right? To make it an uneven playing field. You'd rather have a top 6 defenseman than the 8-minute forward on the ice. So that's what he's trying to do, and to swing the momentum a bit. But Xhekaj, no, pointing to the scoreboard, otherwise I'd go, yeah. And I mean, he just proved that, he's not afraid of taking on that 6'9" guy, and yeah, he won that one. I'd give it to him for sure. But he wasn't going to fight him either. Like Rempe,
he started it,
and even like he was being disciplined, right? But Rempe ended up with the extra 2. Well, how often has that happened in Jack-eye fight where the other guy gets the instigator. It's usually the other way around, right? So again, a sign of his maturity. He's been, up until those 2 games, haven't been noticing him a lot, have we? And that's for a third line, big, rugged defensive defenseman. That's exactly
It's a good thing.
what you want.
Yeah.
You want not to be noticed. And that's been the case with him the last 10 games or so, just steady. His game has grown so much. You know, last year at this time, Struble was outplaying him, and it wasn't even close. Well, he has played better than Struble this year, and he's full marks for being in the lineup. Even Struble, but Struble's been fine. Like Struble could be playing regularly on a lot of NHL teams right now. It's just so much depth on the left side, and Jack-eye's emergence as a bona fide, tough, steady defensive shutdown defenseman. Again, Stefan Robidas, you can't. You have to give him a lot of kudos. I loved. I was listening. I get a chance to hear, and I think it's a good thing to do too, to hear the away broadcasts on games, and you get the, because I mean the local guys can only say so much new, and they're saying the same things again, but it's nice to get a different perspective on the Habs players, and there's some really good broadcasters, and the Dallas ones are good. And I was listening to, and and it showed a pic. The camera was on Robidas, and just talked about. Of course, Robidas played in Dallas all those years, right?
Former star.
And they talked about just what a warrior he was, and what a great addition he is to a coaching staff, just by the way he played, and how he's a great influence on Montreal's young defensemen. And it was really nice to hear from, an opposing team's broadcasting group, right? That knows him, that saw him, just earn his paycheck every day with the Dallas Stars. And isn't it just the case that Marty's an exception, obviously, but so many of the best coaches that end up, were warriors, were guys that weren't stars in the NHL.
They worked.
And Robidas, it gives a nice balance. Him and Letowski with Marty, where they weren't stars, right? They had to earn every shift that they played in the NHL, and it provides a nice balance to Marty on the coaching staff.
Precisely. No, I like what you said there, and credit to Jack-eye. He's picking his moments, right? He's not just dropping the gloves at any moment's notice. He's picking his moments, and he knew that at that Toronto game, right? The timing, the momentum was on Montreal's side. A fight could change that, right? And he did not want to entertain that. Smart move by him. And in this case, you know what? Might as well drop it with Rempe. Rempe kind of started it anyways, so he kind of had to. But I loved Jack-eye's decision making here. Full credit to him there. A few more points from that Rangers game. Obviously, I said that Patrick Laine is the OT hero, but we can make a case for another guy being the OT hero. Here's Jakub Dobes saving the Habs on multiple occasions.
Yeah, I thought, it's over here. It's over here.
Nope.
Boom.
Unbelievable.
That last save, especially. I don't know if we see the glove one there, but that glove save was amazing too. But then that one off Panarin, of all people, the one-timer. And that's where I really, I don't know if you felt the same way, but I thought those two saves, I thought, we lost her in overtime. Dobes, I think Nick said something about it. He bailed us out. So, he was the bloom came off the rose a little bit with giving up 4 goals. on not a lot of shots. The save percentage took a chick kicking last night, but hey, it showed his competitiveness, and he battled right to the end. Made some big saves when the Canadiens were down. The Canadiens came back, and he bailed them out in overtime. That just shows you how competitive he is. He's a battler.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's still a .940 save percentage after 5 NHL games against pretty solid teams. Let's be fair here. He hasn't played against them. Right. So credit to Jakub Dobes, perfect in 5 starts. Now the question is, who's playing against Tampa?
I had a look. The all-time record for wins to start your NHL career as a goalie is Ray Emery. He won his first 9.
Wow.
So not that far to go if he, wouldn't that be cool if he could somehow win 9? Lalime holds the record for the unbeaten streak, 16. He went 14 wins and 2 ties as an NHL rookie. I think it was with Pittsburgh before he went to Ottawa.
Yeah.
But the win streak is 9. He's not that far away. That'd be great if he could somehow tie or break that record.
Mm-hmm.
Be good for the Canadiens, obviously.
Well, yeah, especially being in the mix. Yes, I agree. So, who do you have starting against Tampa? Because now there's a discussion, right? Montembeault led in 6. Dobes undefeated. Who you doing?
I'd start Dobes. I wouldn't even hesitate. You got to go with the hot goalie at this point. You're trying to win. Who's going to be resting during the? Dobes will be resting during the Four Nations Cup, and Monty will be at the right.
Good point. Yeah.
So there's an extra reason, but I think at this point you have to go with the hot goalie, the guy that's won 5 straight games. Marty's the one to, he's conservative when it comes to, he doesn't want to rock the boat with veterans at times. And I get it, it's all about the room and all about harmony and stuff like that. But I think he's got to throw harmony out the window a little bit on this one and ride the hot hand and give Dobes the start. I would have started him against Toronto, and I mentioned that. He's just come in and won against all these teams. He beat Tampa already, right?
Yeah.
Did he play
Tampa,
or was it Florida?
No, he beat Florida. He beat Florida. Yeah,
he beat Florida. But hey, he beat Colorado, Florida. Anyways, he beat great teams. Mm-hmm. And I'd ride him.
I concur. The Sick Podcast, Recruits Draftcast, is proudly brought to you by Sport Buff. You can shop all your sports licensed lifestyle apparel, including hoodies, caps, and tees of your favorite teams from all major leagues at sportbuffshop.com. And if you use code SICK10, you get 10% off all their items. All right, one last point here from that Rangers game, and then we'll move on to the Laval game and our prospect of the week. Still got lots to cover. We've been at this for 40 minutes already. It's lots to talk about. That's how it works. Juraj Slafkovsky, right? Second half Slav, as you like to call him, and so far he's proven you right again. He's just been so much more consistent. I think that was the main concern with him in the first half of the season is, okay, he'll have a good game, but then he'll follow it up with 2 average games, right? Lately, man, he's been a lot better and more implicated, playing a lot more physical, right? Yesterday, crashes the net, gets a goal out of it. That's how it works.
Yeah. No, for sure. Both his goals, right? He's had 2 goals in the last 3 games, all a product of, and I think, again, he's been told, he's with his size, power, he's got to be a net front presence. And that's going to be his bread and butter for scoring goals. He crashes the net. Do we have a clip of the goal last night or not?
No, sorry.
Okay. I thought maybe we had a clip. He, yeah, I love how he crashed the net, and I mean he got rocked, and you see him. When he got rocked into the post pretty hard there.
Oh yeah.
It would have hurt a lot more if the goal hadn't gone in. Isn't that funny how that works, eh? But you saw him; he's laying on the ice, and there's a big smile comes to his face. Too bad we don't have the clip, but it's pretty cool that those crashes into the post hurt a lot less when you get a goal.
He'll take it. No doubt about that. But no, I've really enjoyed watching him play lately, and that first line's been clicking, and it's imperative for them to be clicking if the Habs want to stay in the mix. So all the credit to Uri. He's been second half Slav. He's back, baby. Love it. All right. Quick word on the Laval Rocket before we get to our Insta Customs Habs prospect of the week. The Rocket lost their last game against Utica 3-1. They are, however, still fourth overall in the AHL. They're still having a great season. However, they are the most penalized team in the league. 589 penalty minutes. And look, I was at one of the games where they had like 62 penalty minutes in that game. So take it with a grain of salt. But nonetheless, that is a concern. You cannot be consistently good and keep taking over and over and over again penalties. Like I think the last game against Utica, they had, I believe, 4. Yeah, I think they had 4 penalties again. So that's something that they need to clean up fast.
Yeah, it's funny. They're not a very big team, but they take a lot of penalties. Obviously, the most. What I liked earlier in the week, and they keep doing it, is the comeback wins. Right? They have
the one against the Penguins was. Oh,
yeah,
that was something. Yeah,
it was. So they've had a good again. You got to put them away, or they'll come back and bite you. I love their, their never quit attitude, and that they've had some big comeback wins. Down 3-0, it just like the Leafs doesn't matter. They could still come back and bite you. So the last game wasn't great, but the one before that, and several this year, they've come back. Seems like, that's almost a recipe for winning, is be trailing going into the third period and all's good. As long as it's not 4 goals or something like that, they come back and win. But last game, they didn't come back from the 3-0. You can only do it so often, and it comes, it doesn't happen every time, obviously. And I wouldn't recommend that that's your method for winning games, but it's just a testament to their competitiveness.
Absolutely. All right, you've been waiting for it. It's time. Habs prospect of the week.
Insta Customs Habs prospect of the week.
And as always, the Insta Customs Habs prospect of the week is proudly brought to you by Insta Customs. Insta Customs is Canada's highest rated custom apparel and drinkware print shop, boasting an impressive 4.9 Google star rating. Whether you need printed or embroidered t-shirts, hoodies, crew necks, hats, and more. Yes, more. They've got you covered. They specialize in emergency rush orders to meet your tight deadlines. Their store is conveniently located on Stanley Street, downtown Montreal, where you can order online just as easily. Okay, so you order today, it's printed today, pick up or ship today. Visit them at instacustoms.com. As I said, this probably doesn't come as a surprise to anyone. Yet again, our Habs prospect of the week is Ivan Demidov. Let's have a look.
After this game, he was top 20 in KHL scoring. There's one that was called back. He would have had an assist to start the game, but I guess he got they call it goaltender interference or whatever. But look at the move. I gotta love that he goes to the net like that.
Yeah.
19-year-old with absolutely no fear when it comes to. He's all about scoring. So loved that play, even though it was called back, and I guess rightfully so. I mean, but anyway, here's a defensive play that he made. There's a few. I focused on both the offense and defense in this because he actually ended up -1. There's where he got a penalty for over the glass. But I didn't mind that shift. He actually broke up a play in their own zone, and that was pretty cool. So unfortunately, delaying the game, he got in the box. But even with him getting the, there was a good chance, and he didn't convert. He played 22 minutes.
Wow.
Even though he had the penalty. That's just most of the year easily. There's another good chance. And it was with Grigorenko and Plotnikov. So there was a goal against. It wasn't his fault
that's
at
pretty
all.
weak, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and here he is, as usual, coming in. He finds, I love the way he circles back and goes to a prime spot to shoot. That could have been another assist right there. He, and you see this every game. I love the way he spins back and forth along the boards there. There's a good example. But every game, there's probably 3 or 4, and there was another one that could have been an assist if they'd have converted. So there's his goal. A little bit of luck, but look at the move, though, too, eh?
Oh, wow.
Beautiful. And then everything went right there again. went off the goalie's pad here, and then off the defenseman almost, but just before the net came off. So a little bit of fortune there, but that was a great play. Look at this. Look at his. Does this guy? I wonder sometimes.
Rubber
like
knees.
if you saw this guy, in shorts or whatever, if he doesn't have hinges on the sides of his knees. I've never seen anybody that as flexible as this guy, knees wise. It just he does things that I've never seen before. It's just uncanny how flexible he is. But part of that stance that you worry about, eh? But there's another one of the goals, and again, he didn't have anything to do with it really.
No.
So he may have ended up -1 in this game. And then another one of the goals was an empty netter. So again, right, there's only one really, and that was it. Where could have been a little better as far as covering his man, but again, wasn't his fault. There was another good chance. He almost stuck it in. So he had a goal and 2 assists in this game. Could have easily been 4 or 5, and he continues to lead the. Here he is on the power play. This is a 4th assist, right? Or 3rd assist. So you can get a point on this one. But they've got him quarterbacking things over on the left side there. So he was on the ice for all 4 and a part of all 4 goals that they scored in this game. But here he is on the back. This I didn't like. That wasn't didn't go in, but that, 19-year-old playing in 2nd or 3rd best league in the world. There's going to be some times when he gets beat without the puck, right? But I still like that the effort of getting back was there. I just didn't. That wasn't great defending, and it's going to happen. There's Rottenberg. He loved it.
Yeah,
he loved the. Yeah, it was nice that they showed a picture of Rottenberg after, eh? But he was impressed by his effort here. As you can see, he made that play, right?
Yeah,
all
that
of
was
his
beautiful.
battle. And Rottenberg, approved of it, as we saw in that video, which is
big fan.
nice. Yeah. But this was worth showing 3 times. Gotta love the battle,
Yeah.
He's and then right after, what I like is that this is right after he doesn't give up on the game. Like, he was a huge part of them getting back in this one. Like and we've seen it earlier in the year too, when they're down like 5 goals. He oh, that wasn't nice. And there's an example, though. You're just like with Hutson, you're going to get the good with the bad, and then he comes back with this dangle, right? 90% of the time, those dangles work. But when you're that talented and that confident, sometimes they don't. And there was the third point, right? He almost single-handedly got them back in the game. And if they just scored on the empty net, and of course they had it again, like this was empty net, and they got one. And then look at this pass. Bing. Like, he almost single-handedly got them back to from a 6-1 deficit. And there's empty netter, which again wasn't his fault. So he ends up -1 on the game, but shouldn't have been, you know. Yeah. They're a train wreck defensively. And you know, Mr. D'Angelo has left the team. They, you know, I like how they said, for family reasons, he's left the team. You know, kind of remind me of Ozzy Osbourne. Well, he's left the group for medical reasons. He was making me sick. He was making me sick. You know, medical reasons. Well, you know, family reasons. Yeah, I think the family reasons were Rottenberg's dad was going to have him pushed off a balcony, you know, 6th floor balcony. All I've heard is bad things about just, and you saw it you'd see it after plays and everything, just sour look on his face. Apparently he told everyone, F you, all the time. He was constantly just bitching, moaning. He wanted to be if he wasn't on the power play, he'd complain and moan, you know. Same things that have always plagued him, you know, in the NHL, and why he keeps, even if he has 40 points, he gets, you know, teams don't want him back. He's just a bad teammate. He's not a good teammate. And even the KHL, which, I mean, you could have predicted, right? Yeah. But it was all about trying to get his bonuses and getting points and not worrying about defense, being a bad teammate. And they say, oh, well, family reasons, he's gone back to, you know, I don't know where he's going to play now, but he's running out of opportunities. But we do, one thing I do like about now, I think what's cool is a guy that doesn't seem to like too many teammates. He's always, there is one player that he played with that he's had nothing but nice things to say about. And I think that says a lot about how likable Demidov is too, because that's who we're dealing with, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, D'Angelo, it's unfortunate. We can't testify to his personality. We haven't encountered him, but from all accounts, it's not ideal. But nonetheless, he played in the NHL with and against some of the top players in the league, right? He understands. He knows. And he was on the Daily Faceoff show, and this is what he had to say about Ivan Demidov.
Interesting prospect in the NHL that you play with. And I think a lot of Montreal fans, they're just clamoring for this guy. We know you've talked about him. We've seen highlights where you're both a part of them together. So tell us about Ivan Demidov. Like, what's he like, and what should people over here expect once he does get to the National Hockey League?
Yeah, somebody asked me today, we had a Russian reporter ask me today, like comparing him to McDavid and McKinnon. I was like, hold on, whoa. I said, I'm not going to, put that on him, but he has, I mean, you're talking like it's world-class talent. It's hard for me to believe that there was, all right, celebrating, and then 3 more guys that went over him. It's hard to imagine that 3 more guys have that kind of skill set this guy has. I mean, he's a dynamic skater. He's real strong on his skates. He flies. He's got a big-time shot, like top-notch skill. There's no way to me he doesn't turn into, this is the lowest end possible, would be, to me, a 30-goal top 6 winger. That's my low end for him.
Wow. That's the floor.
No. Yeah. Well, I had a Demidov's #1 fan tweeted the other day, like 150 point plus potential, I said, oh, I can see why you're his #1 fan, but somewhere between 30 goal top 6 winger and 150 plus points is, I think is where he lands. Yeah, the sky's the limit. And I agree. One of the few times, ever, I agree with Tony D'Angelo on something. And that's, I think it's a testament. You don't hear him saying that about any other players on the team, right?
That's fact.
I don't think I've ever heard him, compliment a teammate ever before. And he did a lot of bitching and moaning, but when it came to, and he had tweets, we saw tweets up just talking about how good this kid is. But I also think he likes him, right?
Yeah. Oh, he has to.
And he doesn't normally like too many people. So again, and you always see it with Demidov, and I think it's important, is that he's a very likable kid, and that everyone in the dressing room is going to get along with him great in Montreal. He's humble. He's not a prima donna in any regard. And that's only going to fit in nicely with the Montreal group because, well, you look at Lane Hutson, how more humble,
exactly,
and Slav too. They're as humble as can be, right?
Yeah.
Even though all the plaudits, one's a first overall pick, one's might set records for a young defenseman, but he's just Lane is humble as can be, and it's the same case with Demidov. And isn't that great? That's just such a nice. It's so important. Locker room chemistry is so important, and the Canadiens have it. And Demidov won't upset that chemistry one bit when he joins the team.
Not at all. And not only that, he'll be pretty good on the ice as well. Testified here with this tied record, 6-time KHL Rookie of the Week. That ties the most titles with Eli Tolvanen. That is bananas. And
Already.
Then Grant, you pointed this out as well. He's on pace to be the best producing teenager in KHL history, above Kaprizov, above Michkov, above Kuznetsov, above Buchnevich. And that's considering the fact that some of the games he played like 3 minutes on the fourth line, or some of them he just rode the bench. Pretty crazy stuff here.
And I mean, he's going to end up, I'll be one disclaimer there. He's going to end like he's on pace to play 67 games, and all those guys played like 49 or so. So there's that, right? But I mean, you could take 20 games away from that where he basically wasn't playing.
Exactly.
So really, it's going to be, or 18, and it's going to be about 49 full games for him too, really. But also it's, you don't count the games played when you look at all-time stats, right? Like most points in a season, or most points here, most points rookie, games played. There was no asterisk. It's most points, right? I mean, for whatever reason too, some of these guys didn't play as many games because they were young players and they didn't get to play every game. But Demidov, for all of the, negative that we've had about Rottenberg and stuff, he's been in the lineup, right?
Yeah.
He's played every game, whether it's sitting on the bench some nights or not. He's dressing every game. Like Michkov sat, when he was with Scott at the start of the year, he sat some games, right? He didn't play at all. So do you penalize Demidov for playing more games because he never sat out as a teenager? No. It's again, that's just another example of his potential, where those are pretty good players, right? And he's going to break the all-time teenage point mark for a KHLer, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. I don't think this will be the last time he'll be our Insta Customs Habs prospect of the week, but we're gonna keep doing it. I mean, we're not like
every week.
Exactly. If he keeps playing like that, he's gonna be the one every week.
If he's playing 22 minutes, look out. Yeah. There's gonna be more 3-4 point games.
Pretty much. Also wanted to give an honorable mention to Jacob Fowler, who picked up his fifth shutout of the season in the NCAA. Crazy stuff. He's been fantastic yet again. And then, you see Jakub Dobes having success in the NHL. You see Jacob Fowler one of, if not the best goaltender in college hockey. Like the abundance of riches for Habs fans. Cannot complain there. Grant, before we wrap up, obviously we want to give a big shout out to our good friends over at Betway. You can go all the way with Betway and get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. You scan that QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your welcome offer. The offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Offer is not available in Ontario, and you must be 18 plus. Please play responsibly. Before we wrap up, we are live, and I asked people to send in some questions, and I know Agnello's not going to be happy, but I do want to get to one of them because I like this question here. From One Sharp Marble, I like that name. He's asking, or she's asking, they're asking, Grant, what do you think Newhook's future is with the Habs? I thought he's playing great hockey and on the verge of breaking out. What do you think? What do you make of that?
Well, I better say something nice then.
You can look, hockey discourse. You can disagree, right? You can give One Sharp Marble likes Newhook. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I'd love for him to break out because need him on the. But as I tweeted out the other day, and I guess maybe One Sharp Marble didn't see it or they disagreed with it. But how many players that have played top six role all year have 11 points? Fewer than a dozen points. You could count them on one hand. You might even be able to count it on one finger. He's got to start producing. I mean, you're playing with the top career goal scorer that the Habs have, the best one they've had since Guy Lafleur. Like a 35 goal scorer a year guy. I think Richer might have been close, but I remember looking at the stat, and the last one that averaged more than 35 goals a year was Lafleur. He's playing with him, and he can't get assists. I just, I don't know. I think Demidov replaces him next year, so then he's not in the top six. Like, he's not better than Line Demidov. No. He's not better than Slav, Caulfield.
Doc's been playing really well lately as well. So.
Right. He's not going to replace him as the center on the second line. So his future would be third line. I've liked his effort lately. I liked his speed. He's using it more, and especially away from the puck. I think he's winning more battles. He's contributing things other than offense, which is where One Sharp Marble's right. Mm-hmm. That, he's playing fairly well. So that's decent. But I don't know what his future is with the Canadiens. Is he a third? I think with his speed, if he plays and doesn't hurt you defensively and utilizes his speed on the forecheck, back check, what have you, and starts to produce some assist totals, which he always did before, then yeah, he can play a third line role with the Canadiens down the road. But again, you look at Heineman, Armia, Gallagher, and Anderson. They're more ideally suited to bottom line roles than he is. So I don't know. It's a good question on Newhook, but it's a pleasant problem. The fact that, this kid that was a top 16 pick may ultimately not have a role on the Canadiens, predominantly because they're just becoming so good. So that's not on him.
Yeah.
That's not on him. That's on the Canadiens just becoming, a very good team. And he may end up having to go to a weaker team and finding a role there down the road. But never say never. He's certainly a good NHLer, and I think he can still have a solid career. It just may not be with the Canadiens down the road.
That's fine. Like you said, it's a good problem to have. Too much depth is never a bad thing. Folks, we thank you so much for tuning in. This was another fun live edition. Let us know if you want us to go live more often. We're open to it. Everything goes according to plan. We'll be back on Friday for our usual 2025 draft prospect show. And again on Sunday for our usual Habs prospect of the week show. Grant, any parting words before we head out?
Just, the future is so bright in Montreal. Great that they're in the mix and that Gorton and Molson and Hughes aren't taking flack anymore for saying that in the postseason or in the preseason, because I thought I was with them. I mean, I'm always the glass half full guy, so that's not a surprise, just like you. But I honestly thought that they would be in the mix. And hey, if Laine had never gotten injured, they're in the playoffs right now. I'd be shocked if, they'd have a playoff spot at this point if he'd have been with the team all year, I think. So they weren't wrong that they're in the mix, and it's only going to get better from here. So lots to be thankful for if you're a Habs fan.
Well said. Couldn't have said it better. All right. For Grant McCagg, I'm producer Shane. This was another edition of the Sick Podcast, Recruits Draftcast. Thank you all, everyone, for your support and your comments and your love. We do appreciate it. We'll see you Friday.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast, Recruits Draftcast on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.